Hello YouTube, welcome to episodes 11 and 12 in the Monogatari series, that being Bakemonogatari episodes 11 and 12. Back at it again today. What we're going to do is we're going to jump straight into the comments because they are a doozy this week. So let me just start with Tyrese Andre here, nice easy one, just says epic. I love it when my videos are epic, that's awesome. Thank you for commenting, thanks for engaging with the video. Next one here is from Niku Fukin. I don't know, regular commenter, I would say. He puts a link there to a spot in my reaction. I don't know if this is true, but maybe they make that cut to separate each topic they talk about. Might have something to do with the novel, like page number or and others. Yeah, so that would be me referencing, like, say in a scene they would have something that they're constantly cutting back to, if that makes any sense, kind of to split up the scene. If that's like a paragraph break in the novel, that'd make sense, or a page break, or I don't know how light novels work. I think they have images, right? So maybe this is like an image break or something like that. At any rate, he continues. Also, do you know about the Kaguya-sama reference in Bakemonogatari episode 1? You can watch it on YouTube. Yeah, I got this in the opposite order, where I was watching Kaguya-sama. I think it's in season 2, this reference. And I was like, oh, I wonder what they're doing here. And then somebody told me, oh yeah, it's a Bakemonogatari reference. And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And then I saw the scene back in Bakemonogatari episode 1, and I was like, oh yeah, that's the thing that they did in Kaguya. So I kind of got it backwards, but yeah, it was fun. Thank you again for the comment. Hot Wheels Kid has a couple comments. I'll just get through the first one because the second one's a little bit long and I might try to summarize it a little bit. There's a new anime that has the same characters as Tatami Galaxy coming out called Tatami Time Machine Blues. I think that's what you're thinking about. So it's a new anime that has the same characters but isn't a sequel or related in some way. Interesting. I don't want to dig any further because I don't want to know anything about Tatami Galaxy because I'm pretty sure I'm going to watch it on the channel at some point. But that's interesting. Okay. And his second comment here, yeah, it's a doozy. I'm just going to give it a quick read and then summarize my thoughts on it. So the first paragraph kind of says, "Oh yeah, it's the shortest arc in Bake, and it's kind of the worst one." It's the vibe I'm getting is that this arc is kind of considered the worst one in the whole show to this point, and kind of the worst one in the series going forward, which is good because I still enjoyed it. If this is the worst the series gets, then it only gets up from here, right? He kind of goes into a bit of how the novels are different, and they expand upon a few things a little bit more. This is something that I kind of picked up as well, kind of this self-harm vibe from what was happening to Sengoku, especially with the "I hate this body" line. That's where I kind of thought we were going with the story overall, but that's not what kind of eventuated in the anime form, even if it does happen in the novel. The second paragraph kind of goes into a bit of the sexual stuff I was talking about last episode as well, where he kind of mirrors some of my points, where at least some of the other kind of fan servicey stuff has a point to it, if you know what I mean. There's always something you can glean from it, either it being character or creative or even some kind of meta purpose to it all, which I think another comment goes into later. And that the worst part is that it wasn't even in the novels. They didn't need to do it if they didn't want to do it. Just, yeah, the camera is all over the place in that episode, which, yeah, interesting. And the third paragraph there kind of sums all this kind of stuff up. But thank you for the comment. I love these long analytical comments. They're really cool. Yeah. So I'll read these comments as they come in, as they're kind of commented on the video. But then I'll also read them again later, and they always inform my view of the show, and I really do appreciate them. And there's a couple more coming up too. Sam N has a comment here. I don't think the point of Hanakawa was making about being kind to other people being irresponsible was that other people might catch feelings. It was just he was too kind to be firm with them and would let people encroach on his relationship with Senjo, not being good at enforcing boundaries. I guess I don't really see the distinction there. I guess it's less romantically involved and more focusing on one person and how they're important, and stop trying to do everything, if that makes any sense. Personally, I do enjoy the analysis of the episodes. I don't think it's necessary to wholly restrict yourself. It is certainly possible to start going a little bit overboard and drawing a lot of conclusions based on very little, but Monogatari does lend itself to a decent amount of examination and theorizing, enjoying the videos. Thank you for the comment. It's about recording enough of these videos to the point where I can kind of get to a good balance, if you know what I mean. Because I want this to be a reaction channel that isn't about me just showing my surprised face when the thing happens in the episode. It's more about, why did that make my face do the thing in that episode, if that makes any sense, you know? and talking about how these filmmakers have kind of done this, how they accomplished this using techniques, how is this accomplished using storytelling, but whilst also being, I hope I'm kind of funny as well. I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of the point of the channel, and it's all about just me keep making videos. Some of the videos are shit, some of them are good. It's about just keep going, really. Ikapika kind of continues here. I want to say Ikapika, could be wrong. This is probably the weakest arc in all of Monogatari, so at least you've passed that now. There's more to talk about it and about the reasons it's so much weaker, but I'm not sure if I'd be able to talk about it without being spoilery. Good. Please don't. It's good that it's kind of all up from here, if that makes any sense. It's good. At least that seems like the consensus. I've been known to disagree with the consensus though. DG Too Drunk kind of offers a alternate point of view. If the arc feels rather weak on the new character side, it's because it's actually a Koyomi arc in disguise. It basically goes into the moral code of being nice to everyone, like Hanakawa said, and losing sight of what matters, like Kambaru puts it. Nadeko is kind of a contrast to that with her reckless focus on him. This, I think, is a good interpretation. I specifically like the phrase there, it's a Koyomi arc in disguise, because that was the best part of it to me. It was what it said about Araragi and what it informed going forward, and the changes he's going to need to make. Or maybe the changes he won't make, and then will that get him into trouble? This was definitely the strongest part of the last arc, I feel. Then he continues, regarding the uncomfortable parts of the episode, I think that's kind of the point of them. Nadeko is kind of the first character Koyomi actively tries to exclude from the Araragi harem, despite Kambaru's and her own best efforts. This fits into the not everyone theme of this arc in my opinion. I'm sure people will be quick to deny that and just say that the show is catering to weirdos, but if you think about it like that, there's no effective way of telling a story like that to you anyway. It reminds me of that one famous hospital scene in End of Evangelion where the writer is giving the audience what they asked for, but holding up a mirror in a sort of way, like, is this what you wanted, you weirdos? Interesting. So, kind of the weirdo parts, and we all know what we're talking about here. It's kind of meant as a direct contrast to all the other arcs that have happened in the show so far. Like, this arc, in a number of ways, contrasts what we've seen before because it makes a different conclusion than what we've seen before, if that makes any sense. So, continuing that kind of line of thinking forward, we see where we've ended up with this arc and why the sexual stuff feels a lot weirder here. I think DG Too Drunk here is trying to argue that it is purposeful in being different. And I love that the show can kind of provide evidence for that perspective, even if I don't entirely agree. And that's what we like to talk about here. I love these kind of comments. I love the comments that disagree with me that offer an alternate point of view. They're some of my favorite to talk about and could even change my own perspective. This one hasn't. I still think what I think, But I haven't finished the show yet. I may reflect on this arc differently later when we see the whole picture going on in the Monogatari series. But yeah, please disagree with me. I think that's my main point here. I really appreciate comments like this. Zodrex has another comment here. About the text bits, you have the right idea. It's a bit easier to absorb with the Japanese text, yeah, but it's still pretty much impossible to get everything in those intro ones, which is probably why they don't really hold back on the spoilers. I think the goal of those is to basically get keywords and themes in your head, almost subliminally, while also providing flavor for those willing to go back. Also, while I do agree that you definitely shouldn't push yourself to get absolutely everything on a first watch, don't take it like you have to hold yourself back from analyzing or anything, just do what feels natural. I think that's probably the best course of action. Because I'm kind of a self confessed know it all when it comes to this kind of stuff. I have definitely been watching stuff on Discord with friends and then paused it and then explained everything to everybody and then they're just like, shut up, keep watching. It's kind of me, if that makes any sense. I think finding a balance there is my main goal for the rest of the series here. But yeah, back up to the point with the text parts as well. I'm still going to keep reading them. I think I've found a happy medium with reading them and then kind of extrapolating what I can out of it at the end, rather than reading it all. Fats has an interesting comment here as well. It always interests me that there's no light-hearted conclusion to this arc. No sisters waking up Araragi, it just ends after the problem is resolved. In many ways, this was the first time for Araragi a resolution came that wasn't ideal to him. It's essentially a failure. I think that's the most interesting part about what is otherwise the weakest arc in the series, IMO, and it's also what sort of sets it apart and makes it feel kind of incomplete or out of place. Again, I've argued that I think this is purposeful. It's meant to feel dissatisfying because we are Araragi and Araragi feels dissatisfied, so we feel dissatisfied. Fats then goes into a little bit of stuff about the composers and that kind of thing. Mentions a couple of other shows that they have composed, including Haruhi, Beastars, Lucky Star, and Vivi for the composer of Bake, which is good because Vivi has excellent music. I can't say I particularly noted the good music in Lucky Star, but Beastars and Haruhi, hell yeah. Those are two amazing soundtracks as well. Apparently, the composer then changes at some point to the composer of Kaguya-sama, who the music in Kaguya-sama is very funny to me because I thought it was great, then I thought it was awful, then I came around on it again and thought it was great again. So we'll have to see if a similar thing happens here. I don't know what kind of vibe they're going to go for. And then kind of finishes by saying that he's looking forward to the next reaction video. Well, I'm here. Thank you again for the comment. I love the returning commenters, if that makes any sense as well. Matt then has a couple comments here. It's natural to feel that this arc seems incomplete, as more than any other story so far, it is definitely part one of a larger tale. Similarly, Nadeko is rarely anyone's favourite character at this point, as she's shown to be a fairly typical teenage anime girl, shy, cute, and reserved, with a classic big brother complex to boot. She's also inappropriately sexualized, not unlike the stereotypical teenage anime girl. It's almost like Nisio Isin is daring us to write off this character as a trope, especially when all these other female characters have more depth and complexity. No spoilers, but we haven't seen the last of Nadeko is all I can say. I also thought as much. As soon as she survived, I'm like, okay, she's clearly a part of the show. She's going to come back, and there's going to be more of her. Especially, so she's got history with the sisters. So when we're going to start talking about the sisters, which I'm going to imagine is happening at some point because they have character designs, we'll probably get a little bit more history there. But anyway, I look forward to it. And again, just no spoilers on it. We'll see it when it comes. We're watching everything. Blah 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 blah. Matt then continues. For the next arc, I'd recommend watching 11 and 12 together. I'm here. And then watching 13, 14, and 15 together if you're willing to do a longer video. This mirrors how they originally aired, and as episode 12 was a TV broadcast finale, episodes 13, 14, and 15 coming months later as OVAs. If that's too much for a single video, then I would say 11 and 12, 13 alone, and then finish with 14 and 15. I think I'm going to go with the latter option there. Next week's kind of a big week for me just outside of the channel as well as inside the channel with a new slot coming out as well. So I think the one episode reprieve there will actually be appreciated. Yeah, I kind of wanted to end the Bakemonogatari section of this series with a bit more of a wrap up. So we'll see what we can do there. It might just be too long of a video, but I digress. That's another thing as well. I recently hit 100 subscribers. Yay. And if you guys had any ideas for special videos that I could do, celebratory videos, one-offs, something like that, I'd be willing to do so, just as a thank you for everybody for subscribing. The channel is doing really well, and I'm really happy with it. Seem to have a loyal viewer base that comes back for each of these videos, which I appreciate. And that's all the comments for this week. Let's jump into a quick little bit of a recap. Kambaru and Araragi walk up to the old shrine to place in a fuda at Oshino Meme's request. Araragi sees someone he recognizes but can't quite remember who they are. The duo makes their way to the shrine and see a number of dead snakes that look like they've been sacrificed. Araragi then has a conversation with Hanakawa in the library, kind of not really about the snakes, but happens straight after. It's kind of a weird transition there. Araragi is looking to get into the same school as Senjogahara, whilst Hanakawa is looking to have a gap year after school. Hanakawa brings up the point of Araragi being too nice, which leads into the main lesson of the arc. Kind of brings up that theme and then it comes back a little bit later. Kambaru and Araragi make their way back up to the shrine where they find Sengoku. Sengoku is Araragi's sister's childhood friend and reveals that there was scales all over her body that have been pressed into her, if that makes any sense. Araragi asks Oshino Meme for advice on the situation, to which he reveals that Sengoku is in great danger. Someone has cursed her with a snake constrictor, and her killing snakes at the shrine has only exacerbated the issue. The person that cursed her is implied to be her friend, who did it for stupid relationship reasons. Those stupid relationship reasons were kind of that she rejected a guy that her friend liked, and then her friend cursed her as a result, which is like, yeah, good friend. It is heavily implied that Sengoku did this because she still has feelings for Araragi that have persisted from her childhood. They take her back to the shrine and kind of get rid of part of the curse. There's a bit of a flashback here, which Meme kind of lore dumps a little bit, mainly the stuff about curses coming back to roost, which will come back later, and that at one point he will leave the city. And we'll see where and when that happens and what happens to Araragi in that case. We flash back forward, and Sengoku is still dying despite the ritual working. It is revealed that there were actually two snake constrictors, the other one was sent by the boy that she turned down. Araragi then fights the snake himself, saving Sengoku in the process. Araragi is losing said fight with the snake before Kambaru saves him. The snake constrictor leaves the scene, implied to be going back to the one that placed the curse in the first place, i.e. the person that was rejected. This displeases Araragi. Despite the relatively good outcome, Araragi is unsatisfied, and we, the audience, are unsatisfied as well. And just a few quick predictions going forward. This is the Tsubasa Cat arc, and that means Hanakawa, I'm fairly sure. Flashback, potentially? I think this has been on the cards for a little bit. There's going to be a Hanakawa flashback, so yeah. Other than that, I really don't know what else we're going to get into. There's going to be a cat. I think there's going to be cat girls. I think that's a pretty fair assumption there. And just before we do anything else, let's do a bit of show stuff. So if you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and want to see more, consider subscribing. Comment anything that you want, really. I really like the longer analytical comments, but you can comment like penis and I'll read it out as well, honestly. And just one more thing, I've got a Twitter kind of account for the channel that I haven't posted anything on yet because I don't really know how to find people or funny people in the kind of the anime circles on Twitter, if that makes any sense. So my kind of compromise here is that anybody that follows the Twitter account from this channel, I'll follow you back. So basically anybody that follows the channel, I'll follow them back. And I'm sure you guys know some funny people. You guys might even be funny people. I don't know. And that'll kind of help me start up this whole Twitter engagement thing that I want to get going on. And finally, we're going to jump into the episode. So let me get that up now. Cool, we're back here. I've got episode 11 up of Bakemonogatari. Got the sub-track on, I think, which is good. Let me just pop that on screen now. The time code on this sucker is 24 minutes and 30 seconds. And we're just going to jump right in. Let's give it a 3, 2, 1, go. Cat. 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 Araragi. Okay. So this is back in the day, right? What? I didn't get any of that. Okay, that's the simplification of that. Weird. Well, that's no good. I see. We're kind of just getting right into it. That's good. They kind of just hop straight into it, huh? Oh, that look. I like that. Oh, the music too. This is like noir. Hmm. Okay, and that kind of explains why she was just out and about in an early episode. This is so cool. I was going to ask the same question. Who beat you up? Please tell me. This will inform greatly what I think about. Yep, okay. Scum. He is a bad person. Oh, I like the picking up the pace there. Hmm. Nah, not if you're like a good person though. Okay. No, he can go die. He needs to die actually. Hmm. Hmm. That doesn't mean he's only going to do it once forever. And it looked like you were lying. Promise that you wouldn't tell anybody. Well, I can't not. He can't not do anything. That's what he is. Hmm. Cat. Shiny cat. Dead cat? These specific like walking scenes, they remind me a lot of Marge Comes In Like a Lion, which I guess is no surprise considering the studio. Okay. I've never seen this opening before, so looking forward to it. Okay, after I graduate, I'm going to travel. Photographic version opening. Okay, so it's like photorealistic. Maybe? This is like musical theater type vibes coming off of this. United Arab Emirates, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia shout out potentially. Argentina, Romania. This is weird. Portugal. Meaning unclear. I agree. That kind of looks like a subway. If that makes any sense. Like a subway map. Oh, okay. I was like, oh, that's what that is. Okay. Body over. I can't believe New Zealand got a shout out and Australia didn't. This show sucks. Hanakawa Tsubasa. I owe Hanakawa a lot. She's extraordinary. Cat, presence full. I'll never forget that no matter what happens. Okay. Oh. Alright, now where are we? I didn't note it, but all the birds like flew up. Ah. Oh. Hello Sengoku. Where's your hat? I guess you're in school uniform, that makes sense. Because this is like a flashback forward. That sounds like her. Yep. What was that? Huh? Alright. It's all over my head. I certainly didn't get it. Yeah. Hmm. You now remember last arc. Don't be weird challenge failed. Yeah. And then what happened? Oh, I love that shot. What happened? Cute kids. Kind of like you. Okay, so she's the one. It's mine. Whoa. It's like a kaleidoscope, right? Of all the different characters. Yeah, so this is kind of what last arc was like lacking. Like just interesting shit just for the hell of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know what a Doraemon is. Tensai Helmeto. Because she's a fan. Yep, references that I don't get. uh, oh, she's swooning. What? Big hand? What? What are you doing? What is happening? That was so strange. Uh, yeah, back on track. Okay. So you got the vibe that she didn't like you. Hello, Hanakawa. Later. She's zooming. Hanakawa's not that scary. Hippie. Hmm. Again. Hmm. So she went to the same middle school he went to. As it always is. She hasn't been seen in like episodes. Some interesting gossip. Mm. It's probably true. Well, she does. Well, who cares? I don't think she'll care. But I mean, that's a good motivation to prove yourself, I guess. Thank you, Hanakawa. Hmm. Okay. We'll put that to the test. I've never met a person like that. A combination of both. I think you're putting on airs a little bit, and you always have been. Yeah, I wonder. Oh God. Okay, so that's kind of like a continuation of the headache from last time, right? Maybe. I mean, you're like sweating though. So it's kind of it's what's the word? Like each story's mirroring each other. Kind of this dramatic retelling. Hanekawa? Cat is? Yes. Love me a good cat girl. uh, is she evil? Charmed by a cat. A meddlesome cat. Yeah. Great. Awesome. Hidden personality. Black. Well, it's all about contrast, yeah? Oh, when it's somebody else, he's irritated though. Stress. Well, yeah. Probably related to her home situation, right? And everything else, and putting on appearances and all this kind of stuff. I love a good nya ha 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 though. Like actually attacked them? Like hurt them? The need to steal energy from others. Okay. I like this evil Hanakawa. Oh, I see. Okay. Probably fair enough. Yep. Okay. Yep. Take them for all they're worth. Fuck them. Dead Endo. Okay, so she's like completely lost herself. Okay. She's not like cognizant of it. Well, maybe in her subconscious she is. As long as Mistress is still stressed. Okay, yeah, okay. She's like possessed. Oh, hello, Shinobu. Right? Her name back then wasn't Shinobu yet. For the moment. Implying something else is causing her stress now. Scaredy cat. But you're the cat. Like, don't care about me. Straight back to focusing on something else. Mm. Like they're your treasures. I think that's a good idea too. You might be put in some kind of list. And there we go. So yeah, they're kind of continuing this new version of the ED as well. I wonder if we'll see like a Hanakawa focus in the second half, like we saw a Sengoku focus last arc. Interesting episode. Definitely, the pace is very different from last arc, which I guess is evident in the number of episodes. But this was a lot of setup, if that makes any sense. A lot of flashbacks. There's a particularly great sequence with with like a kaleidoscope visual effect that I want to have another look at. Sengoku is allowed to be like an actual character now. You know what I mean? Because before they didn't really like talk to her much, if that makes any sense. Yeah, okay, so it's like Hanakawa focused here. All right, and the red too. I don't know what you would call this art style, but I always associate it with Studio Shaft. More than I only mentioned it once, but more than a couple times this episode reminded me of Much Comes In Like a Line. So, or Sengatsu if you want to be that way inclined as well. And next time on, I'm gonna imagine. Rightio, fair bit to talk about, so let's hop in and see what we can find. Cool, and we're back for a little bit of analysis here. That was a really good episode. I really enjoyed that one. Slower paced, but I like that. I like that we're just having conversations again, which is always good. They're good conversations. A lot of references that I didn't get, but we'll get into it. Let's just go through it scene by scene. New opening to look at as well, potentially. Let me get that up on screen now. And yeah, I'm just going to pause it whenever I see something to talk about that's worth talking about. Cool. So you open on a few shots of cats and that kind of thing before getting to this point where it's revealed that this is a flashback, as well as the very first scene of the episode, which it says it's a flashback. And we get a conversation here with Hanakawa about a number of different topics, namely her family situation, which we're going to get into here. Basically, the woman who remarried the man who married my mother is my current mother. That is like a level of separation that I didn't even know was possible. So she is very much not related to Hanakawa at all. And the man she remarried is my current father. Like, how does this even happen? Honestly. I think maybe we'll get into it, but I don't even know. That's an insane family situation. And as she said, why would you care about somebody who's being a brat to you that you're not even associated with, not even a little bit, not even related to at all? There's so much of a degree of separation there. Like, I need a family tree for this shit. Like, what the hell? So she knew this from a young age about her family situation, and they tried to put her in an orphanage at one point. So they clearly don't care for Hanakawa very much at all. And as a result, she's kind of got this complex about being, what is it, not even a good girl, but a normal girl. Just trying to be normal, whatever that means. But yeah, this episode, we're kind of just diving straight in. I thought this would be like episode 3 in this arc territory that would start to get into this kind of thing before a few more weird things happen. I like the writing style, how we just get right into it. We skip all the artifice and get to the interesting stuff, right? That means there's less that's predictable about all of this, if that makes any sense. It's less of a standard story structure and something that's a little bit more elevated, a little bit more potentially deconstructive, but maybe I'm grasping at straws. It's interesting to say the least. So Araragi starts to show some level of concern here for Hanakawa, and then she's immediately changes the subject. Oh, it's Golden Week. What are you going to do during Golden Week? Are you going to study? What are you going to do? Like, she doesn't even want to talk about it. But there's still this little face here, like she's, like in the eyebrows, you see it. She's still holding something back. Looks painful, looks like she's wincing. And it's quick, this cut's quick. Good stuff. Being home all day terrifies me, basically. Especially on holidays, I go out for walks. I don't want to be at home when the rest of my family's at home. And then we see the gauze on her cheek as well, and we can kind of infer a couple things, which she explicitly says later on. Yeah, don't stay with that family. We need a resolution to this, I think. Well, she's kind of resolved it herself. I don't know if the parents are still in hospital, but that meddlesome cat came and exacted its revenge, which I'm Team Cat for now. Like, it's only drained the energy of people that I don't like. Yeah, so in this part, she kind of goes into like her dad beats her, and then she tries to justify it, and then she doesn't want to tell anybody, then pleads Araragi not to tell anybody, and I don't think I need to analyze it. He's just a scumbag. So what I wanted to talk about instead is that this reminds me a lot of Three Gets No Lion, and I'm wondering if there's some kind of staff involved here, that some staff crossover, considering they're both made by Studio Shaft. I guess it's only natural because so much of March Comes In Like a Lion takes place on like waterfronts, considering where he lives, and they get a lot of use out of kind of their marine setting, I guess you would call it, kind of those boardwalks and that kind of thing. I don't know, oddly peaceful for such a deep conversation, I think. Kind of complementing this scene in a way is the kind of dour appearance of the city. It gives me vibes of the morning after a storm, which kind of mirrors what's happening with Hanakawa in a way. Like still, but something bad's happened. I don't know what it is about the color palette, but that's what it's saying to me. One other thing I'll note is in those still scenes, we see a lot of birds just, chilling, staying around, that kind of thing. Birds just perched up on whatever. We see light break through the clouds here as well. Before all said birds kind of fly away, kind of disturbing the peace of the morning. A change has come. But it's depicted in a very positive light, almost heavenly. I know they're seagulls, but you could interpret it as doves and light breaking through the clouds. Yet these oddities are considered a bad thing. I don't see how Hanakawa at this point relieving her stress in this way is a bad thing. I mean, sapping people's energy that don't deserve it, that's probably bad, but sapping somebody's energy every now and again doesn't seem that terrible, as long as they don't end up in a hospital. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm being weird, but it doesn't seem like that bad of an oddity yet, if that makes any sense. It's only if Hanakawa starts to lose herself in the process that we saw a little bit of, like if the meddlesome cat completely takes over or something like that. But again, I'm rambling. This opening is super weird. I'm gonna get to the end and have a little talk about it. I'm gonna read a couple of the lyrics and see a couple of the kind of the images and words that they got going on. Lots of different locations that she wants to travel to, I think. Combined with what this looks like a geometric kind of like a math question. You know what I mean? Like she's trying to be a good girl. I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling again. But but I'm gonna come back at the end of this and with a couple thoughts, and then yeah, we'll see what we can glean. Lots of stuff to talk about there. The use of the triangle and then the triangle, kind of the pyramid as cat is as well. Uh, we get a lot of real life shots of an actress who's playing Hanakawa. It seems like we have the glasses glazed over again. The lyrics are very secretive. Like she wants to tell, I'm guessing Araragi something, but can't because of circumstance. That she's not who she seems, and all this kind of thing. The song itself is a bit more of like I said, it was theatrical. It's like a piece of theatrical rock, if that makes any sense. And then later in the episode, we kind of see uh, the flashback where she does turn into the cat, depicted very theatrically as well. I think there's a little bit of film grain there as well. So I'm wondering what they're trying to say there. She wants to be a good girl, or a normal girl at least, good at school, like that kind of thing. That's kind of contrasted with all this kind of cat imagery and that kind of thing. I don't know. There's a lot to say there. I can't even start on the kind of like the subway map on her own body. I'm guessing it's her body. It's somebody's body. I think we see like a nipple at some point, and I'm like, whoa! I didn't know we were allowed to do that. I guess the show is MA. Yeah. Other than that, just keep a lot of these concepts in mind for what may come in the future. Yeah. And now we're gonna do the text thing. I'll catch back up with you at the end. Let's go. Yeah, Araragi's just kind of saying that he appreciates Hanakawa a lot and what she's done in the past for him, and that she's the class rep among class reps, and that a cat enchanted her during Golden Week. Lots of stuff we already knew, really. Not really that spoilery, I don't think. Anyway, let's continue. Sengoku's back! Hooray! And she doesn't have a thing going on anymore. She also isn't wearing her hat, which is a downside. But she's also in uniform, so I guess that makes sense. I'm sure that she was just in a hurry to get somewhere, in reference to Kambaru running away from Sengoku here. She was probably going to read all those boy love novels that she bought yesterday nonstop. Rest is omitted. And then I'm guessing it's a citation, like a Harvard reference to its own source material. It's just strange. Oh, that's very funny. I like that. But kinda, yeah, Sengoku wants to offer her thanks to Araragi in a way. And also hands back her, not her, but Kambaru's bloomers and school swimsuit, which was also cool. There's a number of references to things I just don't know here. What is Bikuriman? Bikuriman? Don't know what that is. I know what Doraemon is, but I also haven't seen Doraemon, so I don't know. But yeah, she seems to be down with her references and to obscure stuff as well, which is I wouldn't have picked it. The conversation turns to Shinobu, and they kind of explain that they went back to Oshino Meme's crib right after the last arc, just to it was late, just sleep somewhere safe-ish. I like this shot here. Again, they love their geometric shapes, just kind of sleeping in the gaps in the school desks that haunt that wretched location. But we learned that Shinobu looks at, I guess they're guessing it's men and women differently, or maybe it's women related to Araragi. I don't know, but it's something that Araragi was concerned about what Shinobu did or told either of these two, I think. Then there's this sequence with the kaleidoscope, and then it goes a little bit later and goes to a bit of a wide here, and we get a little bit more shading on the characters as well. And it kind of goes through all the oddities and reflects them back on each other and the characters in which the oddities affect. And meanwhile, Araragi's kind of explaining how we shouldn't blame the oddities and that kind of thing because the people involved are way more important to what's going on and all that kind of thing. I thought this was a standout sequence. It is trademark Monogatari brilliant, where this was not needed at all. It's not even that important of a scene to me in my context watching the show right now, but they've just put major effort into it for seemingly no reason. And I love that. Such a cool visual technique. Kind of these tessellating hexagonal kind of shapes. It's cool. It's just really cool. Don't know what else to say about it, really. I don't really know what it's trying to say, but it's cool. And then there's this part where he looks to grab something in front of Sengoku and then turns to pick up her skirt. But then she doesn't even seem to register what's happening, so maybe it's in his own mind. Weird. Honestly weird. I don't know what they're going for there right this second. But it's purposeful, so something's up. Something's up there. My guess is it's just inside his own head. Then this line, when I'm with you, it feels like you're judging me as a man. Don't entirely know what to make of it, if I'm honest. Continuing on. Here we see Hanakawa kind of enter scene, and Sengoku is suitably embarrassed by the whole situation. I don't know why, but that's kind of fits with her character, and she zooms away, like almost cartoonish. Maybe a reference to the cartoons that she's referencing as well. I don't know. But yeah, Sengoku was more likable in this scene. She had a little bit more to do. She was making weird references. More Monogatari and less weird, which was good. Hanakawa kind of asks about the snake, and then Araragi's like, "Yeah, it went fine." Like he's still stung by the whole thing. Even the line here, Oshino ended up helping us out again. Like he doesn't want to keep going to Oshino, but he has to. In reference to Sengoku, that's your middle school uniform, right? Does that imply that she just went to Araragi's middle school because Araragi was there, or something to that effect? Would Araragi have even been there at that point? They're in their senior year, right? So she wouldn't have ever been in the same school as him. But she kind of followed in his footsteps anyway, which is, I'm guessing, a different school to the one that the sisters go to. And again, it's just another thing that Hanakawa has kind of just picked up. We saw earlier that when she immediately saw the scene, she saw what Araragi was grabbing and who he was talking to, and kind of made inferences from that, and also made inferences from the middle school uniform and all this kind of stuff. Again, she's data collection. That's her kind of thing, right? And of course, we get the line again. I don't know everything. I just know what I know, which is a lot. She's good at the knowing part. Hanakawa says some interesting gossip about Senjugahara and Araragi. Kind of the word on the street is that she's kind of falling behind or changing in some way, and they think that Araragi's a bad influence, something to that effect. The point is brought up if this would be bothersome for Senjugahara, if that makes any sense. Kind of being associated with being worse because you're with Araragi from the wider world. To that, I would say, fuck them. We don't care what they think. Why would we care what they think? They're literally not in the show. That's how much Araragi cares about them at this point. But he cares that Senjugahara cares about them. That should serve as a good motivation for him to better himself. So Senjugahara isn't as ostracized, for lack of a better term, for associating with Araragi. Again, this is nothing we see, because I don't think Araragi deems it important. It is something that Hanakawa has noticed. But Hanakawa says that in the face of all this pressure, she still stood up for Araragi and said that this isn't the case and that kind of thing. And then she says a telling line here: I've never told a lie in my life. And we're going to keep that in the head. We're going to put a pin in it. And we're going to see if that's true by the end of the arc, because that seems like something that's set up to be broken down, if that makes any sense. So we're gonna keep it in the head. Another line here, Araragi says, "You don't really talk like a high school girl." And then Hanakawa says, "Yeah, no, I'm normal." If you have to say you're normal, you're not normal. You know what I mean? But I don't mind. I don't mind that either. But I think I get the feeling that she desperately does want to be normal. She just wants to have a normal life, normal childhood, normal parent situation, all this kind of stuff. And as we saw with the text at the start of the episode, Araragi definitely appreciates Hanakawa, based on what's happened in the past, which we have not seen yet, but something's happened there. I wonder if there's someone special for Hanakawa. I wonder as well. We'll see. But before we can say, we get this scene here, which Araragi immediately reacts very strongly to. Hanakawa getting a headache. It reminds him directly of what happened during Golden Week, which we are about to see as well. Then here there's a vibe switch completely to a very theatrical style, I've noted a couple times. It even opens with kind of... Let me see if I can just play it. I'm playing it on 1.5 speed, by the way, so it might look a little bit weird, but... See how the screen kind of opens like that? That's kind of like a... gives me cinema vibes as well. Something about the lighting here, it's like a stage show. You know, the way she's acting in it all, something about the costume is very Hollywood as well. I wonder what they're trying to do there. Is it just a random choice, or is it a little bit more deliberate? I don't know. But we see here the oddity that has possessed her is called the Meddlesome Cat, and it kind of takes control of her body, and essentially she has like DID. She has like a different personality that comes out sometimes of a night, I'm guessing, where she kind of changes completely and grows little cat ears. Yeah, and her demeanor changes entirely. She's a cat girl now. No glasses either is another one I'll note as well. It's later revealed that this is kind of a manifestation of stress relief. A cat with no tail because it doesn't care what's behind it. I think is the line by Oshino Meme, which is a little bit loaded. But yeah, I think we got some freeze frames way early in the show. I think even episode 1 of a cat like Hanakawa. So it's been on the cards, and there it is. Oshino Meme says to call this new persona the Black Hanakawa, but she's so white. I think this is just, again, highlighting the contrasting nature of the different sides of Hanakawa, is that even this point is contradictory. Or maybe it's just a joke and I'm overanalyzing it. Oshino Meme also kind of notes that Araragi is even more eager than when he was attacked by, he says a demon here, but I'm guessing it's the vampire, over the summer break. And became a vampire and did all that kind of thing. It just kind of demonstrates his selflessness in a way, right? He's more concerned of what's happened to Hanakawa, even though it's less serious and happening to somebody else. Good little bit of characterization here from Araragi, I think, even though it is in the past. So yeah, stress is the cause of all this, and is there something in Hanakawa's personal life that may be causing her stress? I don't know, maybe all of it? She lives a very stressful existence. Like, her family situation is obviously awful, but she's also putting on this great mask to everybody at school, like all the time. How stressful would that be? Having to be perfect, perfect class rep, helpful to everybody? Of course she's stressed. I also paused here because I wanted to note that this is more kind of evidence, like that there's a bit of a like a cinema thing going on, bit of film grain, again harsh letterboxing. Kind of got text going across the screen, like it's like what's the... is it the Japanese site where the text goes across the screen like that? Nico Nico whatever. Am I wrong? Yeah, very film noir. I think I noted earlier that the music was kind of film noir as well. There's something in that, kind of the black cat of the city attacking people at night, draining their whatever, and we have to be the detectives on the job. More evidence to supporting the family is the cause of the stress is who are the first two people that Hanakawa goes after with this kind of new personality power thing. So parents. She puts them both in a hospital. To which I say, good job. They're scum. Put them in a hospital. I don't know what the mum's done really, other than just not really be involved. But the dad's not only like a woman beating piece of shit, he's a child beating piece of shit. So he's a piece of shit. He can die for all I care. For some reason, at some point, the oddity turns its attention to Araragi. So, inferring from the parents being targeted, we can infer that there's some subconscious level to the people that this cat is attacking. It's not indiscriminate. So, what is the reason for attacking Araragi like this? And is it something that we're going to delve into as further is revealed in this flashback? And then Shinobu kind of appears out of nowhere and kind of sucks all her energy away. And because vampires are, even ruined vampires, are more, powerful than the meddlesome cat, she kind of overpowers and saves Araragi in this situation. And Hanakawa is left back normal. If that is the true resolution of what happened in Golden Week, I don't think it's decisive. I think that this power could come back. Or power. This oddity could come back, I guess. We kind of flash forward again. Well, you really are too kind, Araragi, after showing that level of concern to somebody having these headaches again. Just wants nothing to do with him at this point. And then in the next couple lines tells him, hey, focus on Senjugahara, focus on Senjugahara. So I'm wondering if Senjugahara has some kind of past with Hanakawa as well. She's very uncomfortable being focused on like this, if that makes any sense. By Araragi, is Araragi the point where she feels uncomfortable doing this? I don't know. Again, Hanakawa has successfully changed the conversation topic to something else entirely. And then we end the episode. And we're going to continue that train of thought in the next episode that we're going to watch right now. So, oh yeah, the ending's slightly changed again. They're using kind of a red color palette, and there's more shots of Hanakawa, but that's not really relevant, I don't think. All right, we're just going to jump into the next one right now. See you in a second. Cool, we're back again. I've got the episode up here. What's the time code on this sucker? 24:27. Tsubasa Cat Part 2. Looking forward to it. There'll be a time in the corner. Let me pop that on screen now. And yeah, I'm going to give it a 3, 2, 1, and we're going to jump in. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay. Finally, Senjo. She's going to feed him. I love the hair. Is it I love Hitagi? Oh my god, the hair. Let's go. It's been so long since we've seen her, man. Labu. Why not? Come on, do it. She loves it. Look at these two fucking goobers and goofballs. That's nice. Yeah, I mean, you put it there. Stop teasing the poor boy. She threw it away. Okay. Just trying to figure out how to say it. Where to? Have any complaints? There's a cultural festival. I love a good cultural festival. Yeah, don't seem too happy, bro. Oh, Back to the stairs of destiny. But something else has occurred. Is this gonna stop halfway through and be Hanakawa's opening? That would be very funny. This is funny. Am I even watching? This is the right episode, right? uh, it has to. It said Tsubasa Cat at the start. It's been a while since I've seen this opening. I don't think I noted, but she's a fantastic singer. I think they all have been, honestly. Or at least if they're not great singers, they play into their character very well. That's always been the most impressive part about the Japanese voice acting industry for me is that everybody is kind of expected to sing as well and be good at it. Where I mean, I like singing, but I'm not good at it at all. But I'm also not a voice actor. You know what I mean, though. Big, giant Senjogahara. And yeah, it says Tsubasa Cat there. That's funny. I see what they're going for. I'm just very happy to have Senjogahara back. Treasure Sleep. Okay. Oh, so that was the same day. Okay. Where are we going? Into the car, we zoom in. Is that Dad in the front? Yeah, that would be awkward. Yeah. This is, yeah. When is now? In this car right this second. Yep. Hopefully he's just dropping them off. That would be super weird if he was like sticking around. Again, how old are they meant to be? Are they like 17? You can let them go off on their own. With the dad in the car. It's very funny. You can't even like see his eyes. Let me out, let me out, let me out. That sounds good, yes. Okay, maybe not that. What does it make? Oh. Hitagi. Trying to get him to say Hitagi. It's all about power dynamics. And I think she's winning. This feels like a bit of a scheme. She just loves to watch him squirm. He's not driving very safely. He's driving a bit like me. Yeah, try and turn the tides. That'll work. Oji-sama. Yeah, how'd you do? Because you were studying, right? I don't think he was focused that much on the studying. But the color change in the tunnel is kind of funny. That's good. He's driving 200 kilometers an hour. Somebody stop this man. Hitagi. This is nice. We haven't gotten like a big long like Senjogahara Araragi scene in a while. That does happen. Don't touch me. Yeah. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I see. Okay. Nice there from Araragi. And she presses the offensive even further. Only necessary for you. I'm expecting to see this guy's eyes at some point. Don't bring up Hanakawa right now, dude. Did she teleport to the other side of the car? That's funny. Hanakawa's the real thing. Yeah, it seems like they have history. Creating the stress. I wonder if they've had like competitions like to see who could go like the best um like academically. Every day. I have to hang out with her sometime. I promised. Oh, that would be that's a scene and a half. Those three in the same room. Erokara. Maybe. You didn't pass the test, my brother. I'm gonna step on you. She's like a nuclear bomb of a girlfriend. Always on the offensive. The power dynamics. The red ear, that's good. All we need is another train to go past. Clever. The little nibble on the ear, too. Is Dad gonna have a look, or Dad doesn't care? Or was that in his own head? It's unclear. Fuel on 0. Good. Yeah, as I said, we hadn't got a good long scene like that in a while. It was a great little break in the show. We're here. What is everything? This is like Spider-Man Homecoming. Is this guy Michael Keaton? Yes, sir. I know you're Spider-Man. Are they the same in a way? I love the vibe of this scene. I mean, for good reason though. You're trying to earn back the money. That's nice. It's really nice. Well, I mean, she hasn't been a happy girl. Yeah. Hmm. Might have been a while since she's done that. Yeah. Now, give yourself some credit. I think. Of course, it matters. I don't think that's a fair take either. It was a complicated situation. Yeah, I was completely wrong about the father, by the way. I thought he was like an evil piece of shit or something. Turns out that was Hanakawa's dad. Yeah, this guy seems really nice. What have you prepared? In around 2 hours. I don't know. Araragi might be 30 seconds for old mate here. I don't know. He seems like that kind of guy. Is he just gonna sit in the car? Or put on some tunes? Ah, I know what we're doing here. It's gonna be some stars, I think. Oh, what a great scene. This is great already. Don't look up. That'd be very uncomfortable to walk like that, though. Oh, look at the vibes here. It's like Twilight. I mean, but good. You know what I mean. Yes, ma'am. Right away, ma'am. Ah, I like being right. It's beautiful. Right out of the city, away from all that glare. Like the ending. I like that we see his other eye here. Why do you know so much about the stars? This is nice because this would have been the last episode in the TV run, as the comment was explaining. It's a nice little wrap up to what's been going on in the series. I like TV anime that are adapted from something else that also try to wrap up themselves in one season. You know? Yeah. Hoshisora. That's more than enough. Yeah, she's good at that. I love that ha he does as well. It's very well done. Yes, I remember. That's very honest. It's extremely honest. Losing the U right now by changing things too much. Okay. Smooth. You nailed it. Of course, it has a bit of family meaning and that kind of thing. So matter of fact, I love it. Be specific. Same line as before. Yeah. Kissu? Like she's decided. It's kind of a wrap up from the start of the episode as well, where she's kind of figuring out the right thing to say out loud. Kiss her right now. And then straight into the ED. Perfect. How well executed was that? What a great scene. And then into the banger. So yeah, this would have been the last episode in the TV run. But of course, the story's not over. This was kind of like a sidetrack in the Tsubasa cat type operation they got going on. Just to wrap up that scene nicely, I can scarcely think of better scenes in a kind of romantic show, if you know what I mean. Better romantic scenes, you know what I mean? There's a couple that come to mind that I might show some examples of in the little portion coming up. But yeah, that was really good. I don't know what else to say really. Just very funny. I, I think it's purposeful that the show's kind of taken Senja Gahara away for such a long period of time, if that makes any sense. Like, she hasn't been in the show. She wasn't really in the show for Kambaru's arc. She kind of came in and saved the day at the end. She wasn't in Sengoku's arc at all. Nadeko Snake. She wasn't in that at all. Um, and then, yeah, we get one big Senja Gahara episode just to tie everything up. Loved it. Thought it was great. Next time on? No, yeah. Little next time on, which we don't want to say. That was brilliant. I love that. I don't think there's going to be much analysis to it all because I just want to kind of let it sit as it is, but we'll find something to talk about, I'm sure. So that episode was great, and it kind of got my brain thinking of what are like some romantic scenes in some anime that I've seen that surpass this. For a start, I'm going to go with something which I don't think is as good, but there's a better romantic scene in that show, and that is, of course, I can't stop speaking about Kaguya-sama. This is from the manga, by the way. Also, spoilers. There's a way better romantic Kaguya scene that has just come out, and there's better stuff in the manga to come in this vein. But this scene specifically reminded me of this episode, or the other way around, just because of the involvement of stars as well. But yeah, this is still very much a joke chapter, and they play it off for laughs here, where they kind of play it straight in Bakemonogatari. I'm actually wondering now if this is a direct reference. I mean, I guess you can't really copyright Stargazing, if that makes any sense. But anyway, I'll get on to some of my other examples now. And these are scenes that I think are better, and these are the cream of the freaking crop. That shows how good. These are like my favorite shows, by the way, that I'm going to go through. They're very spoilery, actually. So it's Planet After Story, it's Your Name, and it's Liz and the Bluebird. This is spoilers for basically all three of them because they're pretty climactic scenes of those shows and movies. And this is just kind of to demonstrate how good this Bakemonogatari episode is because I can't think of much stuff better than it. This is it. This is the cream of the crop. For a start, we kind of have this scene here from Planet After Story. I think it's the best scene in the show. I think. That show has a lot of good scenes now that I'm thinking about it. But this is one of the most heartbreaking romantic things I've ever seen in my life. Like it's if you know. That's what I'm trying to say. This scene, man. Now people will say that this one is normie tier. I don't care. This and the scene on top of the mountain as well. It's just great it's just great movie making, great filmmaking. What a reveal this is, especially after all the looking at hands in the movie. Anyway, Your Name's amazing. People got too overexposed to it and have kind of started to mount cases against it. I am not one of those people. It is still one of the best movies I've ever seen. And my personal favorite of the three, this scene in Liz and the Bluebird, which is incredible. Liz and the Bluebird is the best thing I've seen as a human being. It is so good. And I'm not even that much of a Hibeka Euphonium fan. Like, that's how good this movie is, man. It's this, and there's another scene where they're like across classrooms, like looking at windows. It's just heartbreaking, man. This whole movie's amazing, by the way. Anyway, I'm rambling, but this Bakemonogatari episode, wowee, is it good? It's probably shit. I struggle to say it's my favorite episode of the bunch. It's very different again. You know what I mean? But it's just what I needed. It's more Senjo Gahara when I've been craving some. You know what I mean? But I'll get the episode up now, and we'll have a quick look through it. I don't think there's going to be that much to say because a lot of it is just, snappy dialogue, that kind of thing. There's a few good techniques in there with. I'll explain them when I get to them. For a start, one of the best things in the episode is Senjogahara's hair in this scene and her in her uniform and all of this stuff. It's amazing. I love it. They're doing the classic, like, TMI couple at school, like feeding each other stuff, sitting alone somewhere. Like, ugh, Jesus. But they pull it off, I think. And Senjogahara kind of suggests that they go on a date. She also does this thing where she's kind of speaking out loud how she should say something, which does come back at the end of the episode quite comedically, I think. Kind of puts a nice bow on the episode itself, as well as the episode putting a nice bow on the season. This whole episode, another thing that it's characterized by is Senjogahara putting it on thick. She is powerful. She is a nuclear warhead of a girlfriend. She is a forceful tank charging her way into the nation of Araragi. She's always on the offensive, always has a plan, always wants to one up. It's all about power dynamics in a relationship and that kind of thing. And I find it hilarious, honestly. So if we keep getting more of it, I'm here for it. Here's one thing I just noticed. In the context of last episode leading into this episode, actually, Hanakawa in the last scene of the last episode kind of said focus on Senjogahara, and that's what we, the audience, do in this episode. That's very clever. I wonder if something bad is happening with Hanakawa at this point. I think it somewhat implies it in a scene later, but anyway. And I wonder if that's going to kind of be our motivation going forward. That we spent all this time with Senjogahara having the time of our lives when Hanakawa was struggling with something very real. I just thought of it like that. Man, I that's very clever. I got sucked into a false sense of security and going off on our own little Senjogahara adventure that I completely forgot about what arc this was and what could have been happening this entire time. Whoever said this is a point of view series, like, and we are Araragi, is so right. It's that is how they've made this. That's so interesting. Damn. Yeah, here we go. It would be a day to remember, or so I thought. June 13th. So I wonder. So the night is still young, obviously. So something's going to happen on this night as well in the upcoming episodes. Okay. Very, 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 very clever. Even more emphasizing this point is we jump right into Senjogahara's opening. It's like the focus of the show is like changed entirely to Senjogahara, if that makes any sense. I was half expecting this opening to play for 30 seconds, then us to cut into the Hanakawa one or something. And that would have been interesting as well. But the sole focus is on Senjogahara, like the episode itself, during Hanakawa's arc. Very interesting. I think I'm going to read my text now, and I'll be back when I'm done reading. Yeah, so it just kind of went into Senjogahara's approach to love, where she kind of shows all her cards to everybody and then kind of sees what the opposition would do, which Araragi describes as having 0 skill level in love. But nevertheless, she's strategized well, and Araragi is head over heels. He is down bad, as the kids say. That's what I got out of this this starting text. Again, it mentions the Starry Sky, so definitely don't read this before the episode. So this happens directly after last episode, if that makes any sense. So the lunch scene was the scene at school earlier that day, and then the scene after school was him meeting up with Sengoku and Hanakawa and talking through a couple things. Hence, when Hanakawa says, go focus on Senjogahara, that's what she means. Go on your date. Go on your little date boy. But we see this is a date with a difference. It is, of course, the classic date where you go on a long, awkward car trip with your girlfriend's father. Not exactly what he had in mind, I don't think. But he comes around in the end, I think. So yeah, basically this entire car ride, she just kind of teases him. There's a few interesting cuts and techniques. You get a cut to looking in the revision mirror to see if the father's looking back at you, which is a nice little shot there. As well as you see the speedometer. We'll see the car kind of shaking around on the road. These are obviously just all kind of Araragi's insecurities based on the situation. Specifically, when Senjogahara turns up the heat later in the scene, we'll see kind of cars race by faster, the speed pick up, the speedometer pick up, and then by the end of it, we see that there's 0 fuel left. Just clever use of the location of your scene, as well as cute little metaphor there for Araragi's temperament in the scene as well. It's nice. It's good stuff. And Senjogahara is just at her devilish best here with all of her wanting him to call her by her first name and all that kind of stuff. It's good. But I think we'll skip ahead. We kind of got the most out of it just watching it, really, I think. There's one interesting part here where she comments a bit on Hanakawa, and that she would be under an enormous amount of stress to keep up with the things that she does. And Senjogahara would know, based on her being academically really good and knowing how much that she needs to put into that to get there. And then Hanakawa is a step above. I think she mentions that if Hanakawa flunked a test, then the test is wrong, which is a pretty sharp indicator of her character, I think. But yeah, this is just your little reminder in the middle of the episode. Hey, Hanakawa exists. And you should be concerned. Then in this scene, Senjogahara goes off again to kind of set up the blanket and make sure the spot's all clear and all that kind of stuff, as we see later. But it leaves Araragi alone in the car with her father. I think this is also an elaborate way just to tease Araragi some more, but anyway. I love the vibes of this scene. We kind of cut to these shots of Senjogahara walking through the forest and that kind of thing. Just serene and peaceful. Like the fireflies outside, I'm guessing that you can see lit up by the or maybe not even fireflies, just bugs lit up by the headlights of the car there. And just kind of the father, I guess we're calling him Senjogahara Senior or something, just kind of talking it out with Araragi, saying how thankful he is and how much that he's done for her daughter's temperament. And of course, Araragi is the first to say that, oh, I didn't do anything. But you were there, and that's all that really mattered, which is cool. I had the father completely wrong. It turns out the piece of shit father was Hanakawa's job. And this is a piece of contrast there as well, perhaps, between what we learned about the father of Hanakawa last episode and what we know about this father now. So it's parental themed this season as well, because we had the stuff with Senjogahara's mother and then Hachikuji's mother as well. I wonder if that'll continue later in the series. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. Now, I think there's a better shot of it later, but I don't know how they've kind of created this vibe in the forest. Right? It's like if you cut Senjogahara looking kind of wistfully out of the scene, it would almost look scary. But for right now, it's peaceful. You know what I mean? And more to the point is it's just fantastic art. Like that's a great looking forest for a 2D animated show. I'm guessing that they've used kind of the silhouettes of real trees there, or they're really good at their jobs. I don't know. Just to finish my thoughts on that scene, there, the father kind of says, "I wasn't there when she needed me." I mean, you were there in your own way. You needed to provide for the family based on the financial realities of the situation that you found yourselves in. And obviously, you would have been distraught of what happened to your partner as well. I think he's being a little too harsh on himself, is my point. But it seems that Senjogahara is in a good place, got more of a good support network around her and that kind of thing. I wonder if we'll find more conflict for her somewhere later on in the seasons of this show, because there is a lot of it. Obviously, Senjogahara is going to have something else to do. We can't have a new girl every single time. Or maybe we do, and there's 25 of them. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Yeah, and just starting from here, it's my favorite probably scene in the show so far. We'll put it to the test at some point, but yeah, I think it is. I love the POV shot opening up to see the stars. Walking through the woods, you got to keep your head down. It's all very teenage. It's very romantic. It's great vibes from this episode and this scene specifically. Like this scene specifically. Like how good does that look? Are you serious? How did they do that? All of it? It's basically just shading. Now that I'm looking at it, whoever did the backgrounds of this episode is so good. And it kind of contrasts the scenes early in the show. The stressful nature of the scene, the car ride with the father, just becomes serene now that I'm alone with Senjogahara. The forest, it's very still, no one's around. It's just bliss, really. And of course, I had some kind of indicator that there was some scene with stars coming. Or was it? It was at night that she's taking him out, and I read the lyrics of the ED, which I don't think was spoilery and kind of enhanced my enjoyment of this scene, I think, because I knew I was smart. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember reading about some stars. I wonder if that'll come back up. And then it did. So hooray for me, I guess. And then yeah, she kind of explains the stars to Araragi like she does, or her character surrogate does in the ending of the show. Um, and the implication here is that she used to come here with her family, so potentially her mother would have taught her where all these stars are, something to that effect. Kind of reminds her of a better time. And why not show my kind of special place to the one person that I'm actually enjoying time with at the moment? So cute. They should just date. But there's important cat shenanigans on the horizon as well, don't you worry. Yeah, I think I've noted in the past that when he's in serious mode, he kind of lets both of his eyes show. Shows that he's speaking from the heart a little bit more, which is good. It's good for this scene. It's a great choice, but not as harsh as what he's done in the past. The one I'm specifically thinking of is in episode 5, where he says he's going to do all for Hachikuji or something to that effect. And there's a strong pose of him with his serious face on, and both eyes are showing, I think. So yeah, this is a great contrast to that, I think. These stars are my everything, and I'm giving my everything to you. They kind of talk around the subject of sex a little bit as well. Kind of, I'm still uncomfortable doing that because of my past, which is, you know, completely understandable. I don't think she should feel obliged to do anything like that for Araragi, considering what she's been through, right? And I think Araragi plays it smooth. He holds the hand at the right point, and they're like kissu, and we don't get to see the kissu, but potentially they kissu. So just very well done. Mature scene. Two characters being very honest with each other. They're very frank people. They're very similar in a lot of ways. And yeah, just a great couple. Sucks for everybody else in the show that's in love with Araragi though. They got no chance. Yeah, and this is the scene I was talking about before, the kind of ending piece to the episode that puts a nice bow on it. She's trying different phases of asking him for a kiss, but she's doing it aloud. I guess this is what the starting text kind of meant with that she's not very good at romance. She kind of just lays all the cards on the table. But yeah, Araragi's head over heels, and so's half the audience, I think, as well. And of course, we break into the ending song that is basically exactly about this topic. And that's a great little bow on this arc. But oh wait, this arc isn't over at all, and we've completely been ignoring Hanakawa the entire time. So, next week, we're going to see what happens with Hanakawa. Because something has happened, or at least it's heavily implied that something has happened. So yeah. And Senjogahara is going to be involved, maybe? We'll see. At any rate, that's been the video for this week on Bakemonogatari. I really enjoyed these episodes. I thought they both had charm in their own ways. Some trademark Monogatari brilliance, I think. Um, and yeah, that last scene there, pretty untouchable from a romantic anime point of view, I think. I went through my examples, and those are my favorite shows. So if this show is getting any closer to that, then it's doing a great job. Just some chill stuff before I go. If you like the video, consider liking the video. If you like the video and want to see more, like say another Bakemonogatari episode next week, consider subscribing to the channel. Comment below anything that you thought about the video, anything that I can improve, any thoughts, any theories. I love the theories, so yeah, keep up that kind of stuff. And the one last thing was the Twitter thing. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'll follow you back, and I can start actually interacting with you guys and using the Twitter account for what it's for, instead of just letting it sit there and fester in the description. All right. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week. All right. Cheers. Thank you.